Before I go inform the monkeys, I need to collect my thoughts. Since everyone seems to think that one guy can move the mountain, they must be a little upset and perhaps even terrified of what lies ahead. However, I don't think so. Richard Rawlings rose to fame thanks to his passion for vehicles and TV series. He developed a devoted fan base thanks to his unique builds and astute business acumen. Richard seems to have shifted his focus after years of fame, causing others to speculate as to what might have prompted the shift. Many people are curious about his current activities because they still remember him as the face of Gas Monkey Garage. Join us as we uncover the true story of Richard Rawlings. The accompanying business case must be discussed if we discuss what happened to Richard Rawlings. Do you recall how popular the Gas Monkey Bar and Grill was in the mid-2000s? Richard ended up going to court because it came out that he had a lot of issues with the elite. What is the true cause of the lawsuit, then? Richard was still establishing the Gas Monkey Garage brand around the beginning of 2013. He recognized an opportunity to expand the brand outside the garage due to the high level of attention his popular show Fast and Loud was receiving in the industry. Then he considered opening a restaurant. Gas Monkey Bar and Grill opened shortly after. Richard preferred vehicles over running a diner, so he didn't want to be the restaurant's manager. Rather, he formed partnerships to manage the day-to-day operations. He allowed purchasers to use the name and emblem, but he stayed out of the day-to-day operations. We are now in September of 2013. The bar near Gas Monkey Garage opened for business. At first, everything appeared to be fantastic. The bar felt like Richard's brand because to its food, beverages, live music, and artwork with automotive themes. Many fans were present, and Richard occasionally appeared. It was not so simple behind the cameras. During the construction of the pub, Richard reportedly caused a lot of difficulty. He was exceedingly unpleasant, according to a May 2013 email from one of the bartenders. He claimed that Richard constantly halted the project's progress like a pampered 13-year-old and was impolite to the other employees. The bar's managing partner, Daniel Flighty, had to keep things going by preventing Richard from entering the construction site. This might sound odd, but remember that the bar wasn't owned by Richard. The name was all he had a license for. Stated differently, Flighty was in command and always exercised control. Even after the bar opened, tensions remained high due to the altercation between Richard and the bar's manager. According to reports, Richard persisted in attempting to influence the operation of the bar, which went against their original agreement. Richard was perceived by investors as someone who simply couldn't let go. However, Richard believed that since his name was on the brand, he had the right to voice his opinions. By 2015, the situation was deteriorating. Richard started asking about the financial affairs of the tavern. He said that not all of the company's records were visible to him. In an email, Richard asked Daniel Flighty to be more transparent. He could come check the books whenever he wanted, the bar's boss said. Richard then expressed his lack of trust in the bar's leaders by stating that he didn't believe any records existed. In July 2016, Flighty emailed him to discuss the accusations of lying. Richard apologized in response. When Richard attempted to purchase the entire company in 2016, everything changed. Things appeared to have subsided. However, the agreement fell through since he was unable to come up with the entire sum. After the unsuccessful buyout, they continued to operate the bar without informing Richard. An offer to purchase Gas Monkey Bar and Grill and Gas Monkey Live was made in 2017 by an unnamed individual. The deal appeared promising and might have aided in the expansion of the company. However, the lawsuit states that Richard intervened just as the contract was about to close and ruined it. The owners, particularly Flighty, were furious. They believed Richard committed it out of resentment over not being able to purchase the company himself. According to the case, Richard lied about the pub and its proprietors and ruined the sale. The bar and Daniel Field filed a $6 million lawsuit against Richard in Dallas County Court on June 14, 2018. Employees claimed he violated the license agreement, cost them the sale, and damaged their reputation. Richard's attorney, Austin Champion, stated that the allegations were untrue and that the case was merely a means for him to continue going by the Gas Monkey moniker. In 2019, Richard filed a second lawsuit against the bar, claiming that they were using his name without his consent. Due to the persistent conflicts, Richard stated in the complaint that he had already revoked the bar's license in 2018. However, the proprietors continued to use the moniker, including posting brand-related content on social media. Additionally, he disapproved of the bar's actions, such as using the Gas Monkey name to promote a whiskey brand. According to Richard, he didn't approve of that since it didn't align with the perception of his brand. Additionally, he claimed that the bar was hosting inappropriate events that contradicted the family-friendly reputation he had established. In addition to all of these other things, Richard claimed that the bar owed him outstanding license costs. He said that before he had broke the agreement, the donors had ceased giving him money. He said that they were exploiting his notoriety without providing him with anything in exchange. Then he filed a $1 million lawsuit. The court action was brief despite the fact that both parties were suing. Both parties decided to end their legal actions in August 2019. One thing was certain, but the details of the settlement were never disclosed to the public. The bar was instructed to stop using Richard's name. The bar changed its name to Amplified in 2021 and stopped using Gas Monkey. It shifted its focus to music and cuisine unrelated to Richard Rawlings. At about the same time, Richard closed Gas Monkey Live in 2020 and launched 2 new companies in 2024 and 2025, respectively. In spite of this, Richard's Fast and Loud was unquestionably one of the most popular automobile shows on television. The show's entertaining, quick-paced builds and repairs made it stand out from the beginning. He appeared to get along well with Aaron Kaufman, which sparked a lot of curiosity in him. When these two were together on screen, everything seemed to work. The way they collaborated was praised by fans. While Aaron was quiet, intelligent, and worked miracles behind the scenes, Richard, a businessman, was boisterous and full of energy. They were a perfect combination because of their distinct personalities. When Aaron abruptly left the program in 2017, fans were taken aback. When he went, several people were perplexed and inquired. He went, but why? Was there a brawl? What became of their friendship? First of all, reality television isn't always what it looks. Most of the time, only the enjoyable parts are seen. It might be rather different behind the cameras. The difference for Fast and Loud was the pressure. There was a lot of pressure to continue producing successful episodes, as well as limited funding and strict timetables. Aaron was proud of his work and inventiveness, thus that pressure was detrimental to him. In 2017, Aaron told the media that he left the program primarily because he didn't like the builds they were doing. He claimed that the cars were too easy and not challenging enough. Although he was excited to work on more challenging and large-scale projects, the show required quicker structures that would fit their budget and shooting schedule. That was why he was in a nasty mood. He also discussed issues in his personal and professional lives. Although he could not identify the perpetrator, it is obvious that there was a problem with the way things were being handled. Even Richard later admitted that the situation had been heated. In an interview, Richard claimed that Aaron was furious because he had other ideas that were not feasible. They didn't actually fight, despite the tension. We believe that to be the case. However, the split actually occurred in 2016. Roadkill, Hot Rod Garage, and Gas Monkey Garage participated in a renowned drag race that same year. Mike Finnegan and David Freiberger were against each other. The event was heavily advertised by Motor Trend and Discovery Channel, and both sides' fans were thrilled. However, things didn't work out. As expected, and Aaron suffered injuries. The Street Kill crew enforced severe rules for the race. Using leftover parts or other items they had laying around, each team was to construct their own vehicle. Aaron wanted to abide by the rules because he cared about them. Richard, however, had another idea. He instructed Aaron to create a real racing car with fast parts instead of according to the rules. Aaron followed instructions and built the automobile with superior parts. The Track Kill squad followed the rules on race day, whereas the Gas Monkey Garage team's vehicle did not. As you would imagine, the race was unjust. Roadkill's 1968 replica of the Roadrunner was vastly outperformed by Gas Monkey's 1967 Dodge Dart. However, the audience was furious and not cheering loudly. Many supporters thought they had been duped. They believed that the race was unfair. The Roadkill followers were even more incensed, and a furious altercation broke out between the two shows' fans. Things were so terrible that some fans began teasing one another. Aaron regretted what had happened. Although he felt horrible for not standing his stance, he built the car under a lot of stress. Following that occasion, he began to distance himself from the garage and focus on personal endeavors unrelated to the show. Fans of Fast and Loud noted that the frequency of new programs was decreasing after a few months. Additionally, the ratings began to decline. According to reports, there were less people watching in several places. Many people believed Aaron was leaving for good when Richard launched a new show called Garage Rehab at the same time. Aaron's departure was revealed by Gas Monkey Garage on their website on December 21, 2016. Even Richard seems taken aback in the show's trailer. In that clip, Aaron made a statement that demonstrated everything. For Aaron, it marked the end of an era and the beginning of a new one. After the show ended, Aaron wasted no time in declaring, "My vacation from Gas Monkey is going to be a permanent one." It was his goal to launch his own company, Archite Fabrication. The shop was largely about Ford cars because he had always enjoyed them. With Archite, he could finally work on the kinds of constructions he enjoyed without worrying about TV cameras or crews getting in the way. Although his departure was accepted by his fans, they were thrilled for him to go on this new adventure. Aaron's pals were constantly impressed by his skill and integrity. When he first started his business, they helped him. Later, he returned to television with his own program, Shifting Gears, where he oversaw all of the work. Although it wasn't as long as Fast and Loud, the show provided him with the independence he desired. In addition to his show's issues, Richard has made headlines in his personal life for the wrong reasons. When he divorced his second wife, Suzanne Rawlings, in 2019, a lot of information about his past became public knowledge. Every marriage has its ups and downs, but the Rawlingses was particularly public, with numerous breakups and a highly publicized eventual split. The first marriage between Richard and Suzanne took place in 1999. At the time, he was still developing his company, and Suzanne supported him during difficult times. For several years while they were together, Richard put in a lot of overtime to grow Gas Monkey Garage and try to establish himself on television. However, he appeared to be overwhelmed by the stress of managing a business and being famous. After 11 years of marriage, their first separation occurred in 2009. The fact that their narrative didn't finish there was unexpected. In 2015, they remarried. Many people were happy to see them together again after Richard shared about it on social media. They appeared to be prepared to try meeting up once more. For a while, everything appeared stable. At public gatherings, Suzanne was frequently spotted with him. She even appeared in some of his media posts. It appeared like the two had reconnected with one another. Unfortunately, it didn't last. In March 2019, Richard made another formal request for a divorce. Only a few days before their fourth wedding anniversary, they had their second breakup. Their characters didn't get along, which is why they split up, according to Richard. He claimed that they had become estranged and were no longer pals. Their lengthy and challenging relationship came to an end in May 2019, and they were no longer married. The divorce agreement also piqued the interest of many. Richard agreed to provide Suzanne $300,000 all at once, according to court documents. This was intended to cover any land or support claims she might have had. The documents also revealed that Richard received the majority of the cars and business assets, while Suzanne kept some of their belongings. Due to the fact that they were childless, the process was somewhat simpler. Although Richard rarely discussed the breakup in public, fans could see that he had changed. At one point, Suzanne was a calm and consistent component of his ascent to fame. She frequently accompanied him to significant occasions. She never again appeared in public with him after their breakup. Since his marriage and TV program ended, he appears to have returned to his primary business, creating firms. The Gas Monkey Ice House, a brand new one of his, is causing quite a stir in the Colony, Texas. The project was intended to serve as a place for guests to relax and connect with the sight of vehicles and bikes that made Richard famous when it eventually opened in May 2025. Fast automobiles and fashionable clothing have always appealed to Richard. It is therefore not surprising that the ice house exudes the same atmosphere. The ice house appears to have been designed with gearheads and adventurers in mind from the start. The structure is enormous, occupying over 13,000 square feet. With an additional 3,000 square feet of outdoor area provided by the garden, there is plenty space for people to congregate and take in the ambience. The space can comfortably accommodate over 300 people at once. The ice house's design reflects Richard's attitude, as one could expect. It combines contemporary comfort with bold elegance. The space is flooded with natural light due to its large windows and high ceilings. Artwork, auto parts, and other mementos of Richard's lengthy career in the automotive industry adorn the walls. Nearly every item in the ice house has a function and a backstory. The new bar and grill, which opened in 2024 and is a part of the Gas Monkey Company, has prevented Richard from watching TV. Richard Rawlings had the concept for this project because he wanted to revive the essence of the former Gas Monkey Bar and Grills. This pub and grill is located in an actual location, unlike the ice house. You see, Sturgis is different from other little towns. It has one of the largest motorcycle parades in the world. The Sturgis Motorcycle event draws hundreds of thousands of visitors each August. A lot of people enjoy driving vehicles, riding bikes, and seeking excitement. This demographic is a great fit for the Gas Monkey style. This demographic is drawn to loud engines, mind-blowingly inventive designs, and live entertainment. By placing the new restaurant and bar in Sturgis, Richard made the perfect decision. He constructed many diners. Much of the culture he is passionate about is already present in the community where he established his brand. I don't want to run a rally business. Since this town is largely deserted for 6 to 7 months of the year, I really want this to be a local business. However, a place to obtain a delicious dinner, a hot pizza, and a cool drink is necessary for everyone who lives within 30 miles of here. At first glance, the structure housing the bar and grill is noticeable. Fans have come to anticipate Richard's work in the same way: large wooden panels, wide spaces, and a welcoming layout. The atmosphere of the bar is reminiscent of a music hall and an old-fashioned garage. There are numerous car-shaped decorations throughout the interior of the space. Old signage, race car hoods, engine components, and even tires have been creatively placed throughout the bar. However, the site is more than just its appearance. It's designed for warmth and delicious meals, of course. Whether they are there for a live performance, a complete dinner, or just a drink, the bar and grill has something to offer everyone. Breakfast, lunch, and supper are served all day long in the full-service kitchen. These are all excellent, but what really sets this location apart is the entertainment. The live music is Gas Monkey's greatest feature. Bands, DJs, and solo performers light up the night at the venue on rally weekends and other major events. People can dance and take in the music up close in the large open area in front of the stage. Additionally, there are numerous tables arranged throughout the space for guests to unwind at. It's not only work that brings Richard to this pub. Maintain a sense of realism in the Gas Monkey name. It has to do with culture and community. When the doors are open, the music is loud, and the engines are roaring non-stop. Those who truly enjoy automobiles, motorcycles, or simply having a good time can enter. Remember to hit the subscribe button and set off the alarm if you want to receive more updates about Richard Rawlings and all things Gas Monkey.